ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Welcome to another segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation, Asa Mahalla Tija. That recitation follows. Sunn Mann Vasai ਤੂੰ ਆਪੇ ਆਏ ਮਿਲੈ ਮੇਰੇ ਭਾਈ ਅਨ ਦਿਨ ਸੱਚੀ ਭਗਤ ਕਰ ਸੱਚੈ ਚਿਤ ਲਾਈ ਏਕੋ ਨਾਮ ਧਿਆਏ ਤੂੰ ਸੁਖ ਪਾਵੈ ਮੇਰੇ ਭਾਈ ਹਉ ਮੈਂ ਦੂਜਾ ਦੂਰ ਕਰ ਵੱਡੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਰਹਾਓ ਇਸ ਭਗਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਰ ਨਰ ਮੁਨ ਜਨ ਲੋਚਦੇ ਵਿਣ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪਾਈ ਨ ਜਾਏ ਪੰਡਤ ਪੜਦੇ ਜੋਤ ਕੀ ਤਿਨ ਬੁੱਝ ਨ ਪਾਏ ਆਪੇ ਥੈ ਸਭ ਰਖਿਓਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਹਿਣ ਨ ਜਾਈ ਆਪੇ ਦੇ ਸੋ ਪਾਈਐ ਗੁਰ ਬੂਝ ਬੁਝਾਈ ਜੀ ਜੰਤ ਸਭੇ ਤਿਸ ਦੇ ਸਭਨਾ ਕਾ ਸੋਈ ਮੰਦਾ ਕਿਸਨੋ ਆਖੀਐ ਜੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਹੋਈ ਏਕੋ ਹੁਕਮ ਵਰਤਦਾ ਏਕਾ ਸਿਰਕਾਰਾ ਆਪ ਭਵਾਲੀ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਅੰਤਰ ਲੋਭ ਵਿਕਾਰਾ ਇਕ ਆਪੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਬੂਝਨ ਵਿਚਾਰਾ ਭਗਤ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਅੰਤਰ ਭੰਡਾਰਾ ਗਿਆਨੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਸੱਚ ਸੋਝੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੋਏ ਭੁਲਾਏ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਲਣ ਹੀ ਸੱਚ ਜਾਣਨ ਸੋਈ ਕਰ ਮਹਿ ਪੰਚ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਪੰਚੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਿਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਵਸ ਨ ਆਵਨਹੀ ਨਾਮੇ ਹਉ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਰੀ ਕਰ ਮਹਿ ਪੰਚ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਪੰਚੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਿਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਵਸ ਨ ਆਵਨੀ ਨਾਮੇ ਹਉ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਰੀ. On the method, on bhakti, what really is bhakti? These are some of the ideas that the Guru expands on in this passage. So in the Rahau, he says, एको नाम ਧਿਆਏ ਤੂੰ ਸੁਖ ਪਾਵੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਭਾਈ, my brother. In Gurbani, it's usually the brother. It's usually an address to the mind itself. So this is my brother. Eko naam ਧਿਆਏ ਤੂੰ. Eko naam. Naam, as we have often said, self-knowledge, wisdom, virtue. ਧਿਆਏ ਤੂੰ. ਧਿਆਏ is to bring your attention. So focus on the name of the self. Eko naam ਧਿਆਏ ਤੂੰ. And then you will find lasting happiness. Pave, sukh pave, mere pai. Haume duja dur kar vaddi vadiyai. The greatest gift of all is Naam, self-knowledge, wisdom of the self. That is the greatest gift. Because that will give you cosmic consciousness. So, haume duja dur kar. Relinquish the ego if you wish to find affinity with the self. Is bhakti no sur nar mun jan loch de vin satgur pai na jai. Is bhakti no sur nar mun jan loch de. Sur nar, powerful people, dedicated, devoted individuals, Munjan, sages, Lochade, they yearn for this devotion. But Vir Satgur Pai na jai, you need to be on the path of the Guru. Only then can you actually practice this devotional love and this devotional offering. So it is worth suggesting here that bhakti is not some static position, but it is a constant process that we are engaged in. It is experience-based. And in order to learn how to get that experience, you need the Guru, the spiritual preceptor, whether in person or textual, that can actually walk you through. So the Guru says that the powerful, the sages, have yearned to be able to practice this bhakti, but cannot without the Satguru. Similarly, the Pandits Padde Jyotiki Tin Bhujana Pai. Scholars, astrologers read their books, but they do not obtain understanding. Now, we come to a verse that runs through Gurbani, which suggests that ultimately cosmic consciousness, elevated consciousness, whether we attain to that is really ultimately a matter of grace. So this runs in parallel with self-effort. You have to engage in effort, you have to cultivate virtue, you have to reflect. In other words, all of your being has to be engaged, but with a measure of utter humility, of not knowing, of not being in control. That is why Guru Amar Das here says, Ape thain sab rakhiyon, kich kehn na jai, ape thain sab rakhiyon. In its hand is controlled everything. Kish kehn na jai, it cannot be predicted. Ape de se paiya, we receive what we are given. Guru buj bujhai, this acknowledgement of our own helplessness comes from the Guru, because we are under the illusion that we are independent agents that can make things happen. But the Guru is trying to rid us of this illusion. So self-effort, yes. Cultivation of virtue, yes. Control of the senses, yes. And yet, it is beyond our control. We have to beg. We have to beg, we have to petition, we have to make pleas. That has to be very clear. Karo binanti, karo jodadi, prabh milne ki locha. जी जंत सब तिस दे सबना का सोई मंदा किसनो आखिया जे दूजा होई. Well, who can be called bad or evil when there really is no other? Now this is a recognition of oneness, that all seeming opposites are tied together by an immutable oneness. So the Guru says, Ji Jant Sabbatisade, all mortals and creatures are connected, linked together within the self, and the self envelopes its creation. So who can we really label good or bad? So all of this labeling that goes on is really a human construct. And we have to learn to understand that what seems or appears bad to us is also happening within the writ, within the will of the self. because after all, existence is a play, and the play of the opposites, and the Guru plays it the way it wants to. Eko hukam vartada, eka sirkara, eko hukam vartada. Just what I said, the writ of hukam prevails everywhere, and it prevails equally over everyone. Eka sirkara. And it is the ordinance of hukam that will lead some astray. Apapavali dityan. Antar lob vikara. It will lead people astray to greed and other afflictions, and it is the same providence that leads others to follow the path of the Guru. Ik ape gurmukh kitiyan, to realize the self. Bujjana vichara. So it is the self that will ultimately bestow to us the gift of devotion. Bhagat bhi ona no baksiyan. And the treasure house of Nam is also a gift. Antar Bhandara. So let there be no illusion that this is something that we can achieve through the volition of our egos. You cannot. Because what we do is we act out of ego. And it is this ego that has to be shattered. And how do you do that? That is where the Guru comes in. Gyaniyan no sab sach hai, sach soji hoi, oe pulaye kise de na pulni, sach janan soi. Now this is Gyaniya, for those who are self-actualized. For them the self pervades everywhere. Sab sach hai, because they have discernment. They cannot be misled by anyone. Oe pulaye kise de na pulni. Because they know the self intimately. Karma hai panch vartade panche vichari. Panch here refers to the five senses. Within this mind-body complex, karma, are housed the five passions that operate through the senses. So the Guru says, panche vichari. Reflect on these. Understand their nature. Understand what causes them to trigger. But again, the Guru, Nanak bin Satgur, without the direction of the Satgur, Vasana Avani, the five passions cannot be controlled. Naam haume mari, unless haume, ego consciousness, is shattered through the agency of self-knowledge. So you see the connection between the self, the Guru, the Satguru being the principle of mediation, and Haume, the seeker that is lost, have gone astray. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.